Welcome to Frequency, the New Currency, the podcast where we go inward to change everything. I am your host, Melissa Watts, founder of Enlightened Pathways Healing Center. I will never thank you for your time because time is elusive. Instead, I thank you deeply for your attention because where attention goes, energy flows. And the fact that your attention is here tells me your frequency is already shifting. Frequency is the channel you are tuned into. Currency is what flows to you as a result. Now, let's go in. Welcome to Frequency, the New Currency. We often think of frequency as something we have to seek, something we find through the years of practice, intention, and searching. But sometimes frequency doesn't wait for you to find it. Sometimes it calls to you, unannounced, uninvited, in the middle of the night. Most of us think of our connection to Source and our frequency through the lens of being human, through the body, the senses, and the physical world. But what if, just what if, consciousness exists beyond the body? What becomes possible if we could experience ourselves as pure frequency beyond the limits of physical form? My guest has spent more than 3 decades helping people uncover the hidden contributors behind illness, imbalance, and energetic blockages, and more importantly, discover their capacity and power to heal. She has seen the human energy field from both sides of the veil, and she is here today to help you understand what your frequency may be telling you about your health, about your healing, and about your wholeness. Dr. Carol Ritberger, Ph.D., is an international renowned medical intuitive, personality behaviorist, author, and founder of the Ritberger Institute for Esoteric Studies. In 1981, a near-death experience changed her life forever and transformed how she understood health, healing, and human potential. Since then, she has dedicated her work to exploring the emotional, psychological, and spiritual contributors behind illness and disease. Holding doctorates in theology, esoteric philosophy, and hermetic science, Carol has spent more than 30 years bridging the science of personality with the power of energy and intuition, helping thousands understand that healing isn't something that happens to you, it's something you actively participate in. She's a Hay House author. Her books include What Color is Your Personality? Your Health, Love, What's Personality Got to Do with It? And Healing Happens with Your Help. These works have been used in textbooks in institutions around the world. You can find Carol at ritberger.com. Please welcome my guest and friend, Dr. Carol Ritberger.
Thank you so much for having me on your show.
It is such a pleasure. And I have to say, it feels like, Carol, I've been waiting for this opportunity for a long time to have this conversation with you. I think you are so interesting, and the work that you do, the experiences that you've had, I just can't wait to dig in.
Well, good. It certainly hasn't been a life being static. It's been, flexible.
For sure. And so, I want to start with something that I just find fascinating. And if you don't mind, I kind of want to go to the crust of it. If we can just start with your near-death experience. I know I've seen you in many, many different instances in person, and read your books and seen you in different talks on and off TV. But I know one of the main things that you talk about is your near-death experience being a doorway. But I want to ask you, what was happening in your life just before this doorway opened up? What was your frequency like in those moments that led up to this big threshold, this big change? And I look at that as a frequency upload or a frequency shift. And what was it like to have that shift? So if you can just sort of take us through that experience, I think the listeners will be more than thrilled to hear.
Oh, thank you. It's interesting because where I was in my life was lost. You
Mm,
know, I had been raising a daughter and decided that I wanted to go back to work, and I hadn't a clue because I'd never worked anywhere other than in the home what I was going to do. And so I was lost. My life was feels like it was in complete upheaval, which seems to be a tendency when we're, asked in a gentle, forceful nudge to go inside.
mm-hmm,
But what I did is I said, I want to enter the business world. I don't know what it is. So I went and talked to a career counselor, and she introduced me into personality.
mm,
And as we were going through the results, I kept feeling like, oh my gosh, I know me. I know
wow.
who I am. I know what my strengths are. And it shifted my entire perception of myself from being this lost, sometimes feeling very desperate,
Mm-hmm,
truthfully,
mm-hmm,
um, to be able to move forward, to all of a sudden have this inner knowing and strength that just gave me a courage, a strength, a resiliency. And when we were going through that a career counseling, and she talked personality, it's like something inside goes, I know this.
mm,
And it's like it just opened up a doorway to a whole new part of who I was. And I found out I didn't really want to go to work. I wanted to go to school, and I wanted to learn
mm,
more about, what makes us tick and why we do the things we do, and why we make decisions the way we do, and why do we have to do redos. And, it just kind of, in everything in life is that when you reach that inner part of you, you have your history that you can fall back on,
mm-hmm,
but you realize you really don't know. So you have to learn to know and then trust it.
mm,
So that's where I was. And my life completely turned around. And then I was into studying personality, and then had again, a lot of tragedy and stress in my life. And all of a sudden I died, literally.
wow.
And, it was just that the doorway was a chance for me to get a glimpse of who I was, because that door had been opened through that personality understanding, and also recognizing I was different, I didn't fit,
Mm-hmm,
but it didn't make me feel bad about being that. It made me feel strong about being different and unique, and then realizing we're all different and we're all unique. And so when I died, it was interesting because of my background as a strict religious background.
mm-hmm,
And I expected when I died that I was going to go to the pearly gates and see angels and everything. And
right.
I was in a car wash.
A car wash.
I was literally in this metaphor. When I was awakened in the middle of the night and told I need to go to the hospital, and it's like, oh, no, I don't think so. My family was gone. And it was like, no, 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 no problem. And then I had trouble breathing. And then this inner knowing was like, no, you need to go to the hospital. And so when I got there and checked in, I remember the admittance nurse looking at me and going, and why are you here? And I said, I'm dying. And she
Wow.
looked at me like, what?
Wow.
But and again, I share this part of it because that inner part of us isn't awfulizing. It doesn't catastrophize everything. It
Mm-hmm,
sometimes will use ease and humor and grace and compassion. And so then I proceeded to die. And was declared medically dead 3.5 minutes, which
Wow.
probably should not have come back normal, which my sightseeing auras probably isn't.
Wow.
But what I realized, and I want to share, is that there really is there is a veil within us in the neurology of our brain,
Mm-hmm.
but there isn't a veil between who we are in that frequency and that light and who we are in form.
Mm.
And the reason I was in the car wash was because my mind was just panicking and diligently trying to pick up any memory
Mm-hmm.
that would keep me in human form and keep my body alive. And that was one of the things I loved doing as a child, was going to a car wash with my dad. It was
Wow.
my Saturday with my dad, and I remember watching the cars and wondering how they go through there and watching in the window get from one side to the other. And when I died, it was a car wash, but I could see the souls in form moving on this like conveyor belt or this ladder to this light.
Mm.
And I realized how different we really are in our humanness, that we're light, we're frequency,
Mm-hmm.
we're grace, we're love. There
Mm.
wasn't, I remember there wasn't one image of a human going to soul that was crying and lamenting and cussing and swearing and everything. It was just beautifully graceful for us to enter into that part of who we are.
Mm.
And that's something I remember very clearly when I came back, is that that is who we are. We are love, we are grace, kind, compassionate, things that we
Mm-hmm.
put in human words, but are just the essence of who we are.
Wow.
So, yeah,
Wow. So that is, I have to unpack that because you've given so much, and thank you for being so candid about the experience and so open. And I want to sort of walk the audience through and sort of make some analogies of what you just shared because I just think it's so phenomenal. So, the first thing that I want to acknowledge is your honesty about talking about how you really didn't know what you were going to do and you were sort of searching. I want to do this. I want to do something else. I want to go back in the business world, and so that was the beginning of this sort of this search. And I know so many people listening now sort of is kind of going through that. We're going through this big transformation. The world just seems to be shutting, changing, transforming, just a lot of things happening. And so I sort of want to make that correlation. And then the next thing you said that there were also some stresses that were happening in your life. And I think, again, that sort of correlates to sort of where some of the listeners may be going through in their lives today. And I think without going through every detail of what you shared, but the most important thing I think out of what you shared is that there's this inner knowing, there's this frequency, there's this energy that is us. I'd like to call it wholeness, frequency that we all are a part of, and it is a part of us. And we can tap into it when we are ready. And sometimes that can be through certain circumstances, as you had an NDE, a near death experience, and they can mean those things could also happen through a loss of a job, through a loss of a relative, and they can come in different ways. And sometimes just having an epiphany that, hey, it's time for change. So, would you agree with that? That those opportunities, I don't like to call them challenges, but those opportunities to tap into that frequency can come in a plethora of ways. We just have to be willing and open and ready to tap in.
absolutely. The interesting thing is, as humans, we live so much in the moment as far as what our demands and tasks are, or where that, what we need to do or who to please or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
that a lot of times the major changes that happen in our life tend to happen in the time where we just it's not, we throw up our hands. We're not giving up, but we actually are surrendering
Mm-hmm.
to that part of who we are. And in those moments of sometimes desperation or confusion or doubt, that's when that grace of who we are comes forward
Mm-hmm.
and basically takes us by the hand and
Mm-hmm.
says, let's go look at this differently.
I love that. Yeah. Let's look at this differently. Wow. What a beautiful way to look at things. Not as an ending or something to be afraid of, but an opportunity. Let's look at this differently. Wow.
Absolutely. And the interesting thing I've learned over all these years, Melissa, is that that essence, that frequency, that wholeness of who we are, meaning being a part of all that exists from frequency, is that we learn that those times don't have to be so riddled with strong emotions.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like an epiphany,
Mm.
like an awakening.
Mm-hmm.
And all it is just this like stop, take a deep breath, look around you, and ask yourself, is this where I choose to be?
Mm-hmm.
Is this in my highest good?
Mm-hmm.
And that simple question will give you opportunities that'll come in that the mind goes, oh my gosh, these are challenges. But the heart soul of us says, oh, these are opportunities.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
We are
Yes.
so conditioned in our humanness to avoid struggle or challenges or
Mm-hmm.
make our life safe. And that's not a judgment. But when the essence of who we are wants to be known, it doesn't care if you're rigid. It doesn't care if you're in a,
Mm-hmm.
happy space. It's just like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
the doorway opened again. Here's another part of you.
Yes. And it's interesting, and you talk about us being conditioned in our humanness. I think the caveat here is one of the major
That's right.
fears that we all go through as humans is the fear of death. And here it is, you share with us that you have faced it, gone through it, and now come back to tell us about it, that there's really nothing to be afraid of. And I think that within itself allows us to shift in how we have our experiences as a human being.
Absolutely. We're so conditioned very early on in our age to please, to fit in,
Mm-hmm.
to belong, to think alike.
Mm-hmm.
And all of those things help us survive. But at some point in time, they become limitations to who we are.
Yes. Our
And when
wholeness.
those limitations surface to a place where they um, obstruct our frequency or diminish our frequency, then the essence, the wholeness of who we are says, wait, let's stop, look around,
Mm-hmm.
take a deep breath.
Yes. So, looking at that now, moving forward just a little bit, when you came back from that experience, and so you went in one way, right? And then you came
Mhm.
back completely anew or different or transformed, whichever word, fits in that space. But you really had a perspective or a view that you didn't have before. And what was that like from having to get used to, having to understand it? What did it feel like being back in your body again when you returned? And then what was that awareness like in you, for you, when you returned?
Um, Unsettling.
Mm,
I mean, my sight had been altered to the point where I could literally see energy.
mm,
but I couldn't see. I was actually blind for a short period of time,
Oh, wow.
but I could hear people's voice and I could see light and color. And then when my sight, when I actually could come back and physically see, I didn't know what to do with it. I
Mm.
didn't know how to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what to call it. And again, my life was very predictable and now completely unpredictable.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just talk to anybody. I had enough psychology background that I started talking to doctors and psychiatrists and psychologists to try to understand what's happening to me.
Mm-hmm. I
And
bet.
interestingly enough, all the people I talked to get the help, they wanted to know what it was like to die.
Yeah, I
What
bet.
was it like
Yeah.
on the other side? And, you
Mm-hmm.
know, was there love and are there words and how did it feel? And were you afraid? Did you feel alone? It's
Mm.
like, no. It's like, but I want to talk about why I see all this energy and colors around anything that has atoms and molecules in motion. And finally, one psychologist said to me, Carol, I think you see the aura.
Mm.
And I said, how do you spell that? I never heard of it. And then I went on a quest. I read every book at the time, which was in the early 80s.
Mm-hmm.
There weren't a lot of them on auras. And it's like, yep, nope, yep. And just
Wow.
trial and error.
Wow. And so now here it is. Now you're back in your body and you have this ability that you didn't have before. And this ability now allowed you to see the auras of things, right?
Mhm.
So, be it a person, be it a flower, you saw the frequency or the aura, the energy that each item or thing that you looked at was emitting. Is that correct?
That's correct. Very distractive.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And then I would see auras that just didn't look healthy.
Oh, okay.
And I remember a quick story. Um, 3 weeks after I had had my near death, I
Mm-hmm.
still wasn't talking about it, not sure what all happened other than what the doctors told me.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to fly to Colorado for a for a interview, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And I was sitting in my seat, and this woman walks up, it comes down the aisle, and I thought, oh, her energy's just different. The colors are different. And then a young daughter, her daughter, I found out was behind her, and this aura, I have never seen it before. It was dark and not that she was dark, it was just not healthy, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember thinking, oh, please don't come sit by me. I don't know what to do. And of course, the way spirit works, it's like they sit right next to me, the young girl's right in the middle seat.
Oh, wow.
And I looked at her and something inside said, she's really sick. Don't know how I knew that.
Mm-hmm.
And the mother shared that they were going to go and have some blood work done to find out what was going on in a different way because it seemed rare. And if they couldn't come up with something, then she would die. And that
Mm.
just scared the daylights out of me.
Mm.
I didn't want this.
Right.
Take this back.
Right. Right. I can imagine. And
And
so then what
then I
happened?
just started, I went out and bought a box of 120 crayons, Crayola crayons,
Mm.
and drew a silhouette on a piece of paper. And when I would see something that was really unusual, I would just capture it, like I was taking a photograph of it.
Wow.
And then I would study it. And then I started realizing that diabetes has an energy pattern, different cancers have energy patterns. But
Mm.
I also took my education with personality and said, wow, if someone neurologically gathers information, makes decisions the way they're designed, then I didn't see this change in their field.
Mm.
So then I took my background and personality and put it in with the different illnesses, and that started the medical intuitive part of me.
Wow. Wow, that is amazing. And so that was, say, the mid 80s, early 80s. And has the way that you see things, the way that you understand those energies, that frequency, has it changed or evolved over the decades?
Definitely.
How so?
Because what I realized is that how I was approaching, the site that I had is I was approaching it physical,
Mm-hmm.
but over the course of time, everything shifted to where I started at that deep part of who we are, that call it soul or essence or wholeness of frequency.
Mm-hmm.
And the physical didn't change, but this whole world of frequency opened up
Wow.
that would allow me to share that healing isn't just on a physical level.
Mm.
It's connecting with our heart and self love and self acceptance and self esteem, and how the role our emotions play into the changing of the auras or the chemistry of the body.
Mm-hmm.
And most importantly, is how the quality of our thoughts affect us, our wholeness.
Wow.
So it has
That's
definitely
wow.
evolved. It went from physical into that essence
Mm-hmm.
and worked from the essence out to the physical. And the gift of that is that you can look at emotions and change emotions. You
Mm-hmm.
can look at thoughts and change thoughts. You can look at yourself and change your self perception from
Mm-hmm.
being maybe damaged or flawed or imperfect or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And the body responds in a healing way.
Wow. That's
And that's the
fascinating.
magic.
That
That's what
is.
I really realized. That's the magic and the mystery of what I learned to understand about who we are, is that our tendency is to heal physical, of course,
Mm-hmm.
but we have other avenues. We have other doorways.
How fascinating. And so that really empowers the idea that we really have a lot to do with our healing as well as our illness and dis-ease.
Yes, because the essence of who we are, that wholeness of who we are,
Mm-hmm.
is love.
Yes.
It's hope.
Mm-hmm.
It's surrender. It's grace.
Right. So
And
when
if we
you,
give ourselves grace,
mm-hmm.
we heal.
And that is, well, that sounds so simple, but I know it is not as easy for others to
No,
do, based on trauma, based on life circumstance, based on family, based on, just people just being born into very difficult situations
yes,
and things that's happening now. There's so many shifts. There's so
yes.
many what appears on the surface injustices, right? That's happening today. And we take all that in. And I think what I hear you saying is part of how we live is, well, not part of, how we live is really our responsibility. And I think that we have given that responsibility to an outside force or an outside person, making that person responsible for our own individual living and living healthy without disease and so forth. And it's almost like we have amnesia that we have that wholeness and that ability.
And stop and think about it. We're conditioned that way.
Hmm.
We don't come in broken. We come in with challenges that are part of our soul work. But the thing that I've realized is that you don't diminish your traumas,
Right.
and you don't have to accept them in a way that they abdicate who you are to circumstances or other people. One of the things that I remember when I was on the other side is being told that only you are responsible for your life, and how you live that is being accountable to yourself, not compromising your values or your spiritual integrity or your
Right.
even moral values.
Right.
But this is the journey. This is the process, because what I also learned is that every time you face some belief system or trauma, it's not where something inside says, like your mind says, well, put your boots on and kick that thing in the butt and get it going. You stand in front of it and you observe it and you ask what you've learned from it about yourself. And that's empowering.
It is. I would completely agree. It really is. And I and I would like, for those who are listening now who are really having some challenges, whether they're financial challenges, challenges in the job space, challenges with health, to really consider that it's really in our hands, and more in a way of surrender to the frequency in us, as opposed to surrendering to the conditions that we've been told it's supposed to be.
Exactly.
That's very
And
powerful.
that takes time, Melissa.
Yes.
And it takes a lot of digging deep inside and being respectful of yourself. So it isn't something that you just all of a sudden wake up and everything is blissful.
Right.
It's the process, it's the learning about. One of the things I remember also when I was on the other side and brought back, which I probably should give a disclaimer. You don't remember if someone passes and crosses the other side, you don't remember everything. It requires a conversation like this, or an experience, or a dream. And then suddenly you remember. And when you remember, that touches an inner part of who you are. But one of the things I remember, and I have to put it in human terms, but I remember asking, it was, what is the purpose of life? And they said, to experience. I don't know who they are. This beautiful love energy, I guess. You experience, you learn, you grow, you change, you evolve, and you share. It's to share our stories,
Yeah.
even if that means commiserating with others who have shared our same story. The essence, the wholeness of who we are shares that story, not from victim, it's from strength, it's from grace.
Right. Right. And nothing in that list was to get the big house, to get the big cars, to get the big bank accounts. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I think that whatever those things are should come secondary to what you've just expressed.
They do, because your perspective of them changes.
Yes.
They're still important. They're your history. They're who makes you the human that you are, whether it's pleasant or unpleasant. But they're the part that gives you that foundation to do that inner work.
Right. 100%. Absolutely. So interesting. You are really at the intersection of medical and mystical, and medical and intuitive, and also all the spiritual and intuition that you have. How have you been able to stay whole within that, and hold a sacred space with balance? And especially now we're talking 30 years ago or so ago. But during that time, I think we were less aware or less knowledgeable of the spiritual pieces, or the frequency or intuition pieces than we are today. And so there was this almost left brain, right brain, but you have had to be
Hmm.
able to have them come together and work hand in hand. How have you done that?
Well, it's been a challenge for sure,
Mm-hmm.
because there's the fear
Yes.
that, I'm not a doctor.
Yes.
And so therefore you can't diagnose. But I do work with doctors, which
Mm-hmm.
was interesting. So it's been a dance.
I bet.
and and then what I realized is that medicine, working with, doctors and pre-med students and everything,
Mm-hmm.
the gift that they offer us is a lot of lot of research, a lot of technology, of understanding illness.
Mm-hmm.
And they determine what's wrong with us based on symptoms first,
Mm-hmm.
test results, in order to get us the diagnosis that they do.
Mm-hmm.
But at the core of every doctor I've ever worked with is that oath that they take to do no harm.
Mm-hmm.
And they truly, in their essence, want the very best for their patients.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not trained to go in and be intuitive and to follow that inner knowing.
Mm-hmm.
So when I started realizing what medicine really is about, it took away the fear, and it took away that tension between alternative and complementary, or
Mm-hmm.
integrative and medicine.
Mm-hmm.
We all want the same thing,
Right. Which is wholeness, healed.
is wholeness.
Yes. So, with that being said, looking at the body, the frequency of how we operate, is there like I don't know what I want to call it, like maybe a cheat sheet or a thing like when you see typically the color brown in an aura, or when you
Mhm.
see sort of almost like how you do personalities, and we'll get to personalities in a minute. That's a lot of fun. But when you see black, or when you see gray, or too much yellow, is there a rule of thumb for you when you see someone's aura? Almost, I remember one time you told me years ago, you said, Melissa, all headaches typically start in the stomach. And I was like, huh? The stomach? So, but it was one of those things you told me years ago. And I was like, oh, okay. And you sort of went back and you said, okay, because this and that. And I was like, wow, never knew that. But is it the same sort of, I mean, I know every situation is complex and unique to the individual, but are there those overarching things that you can share?
Absolutely. So, brown in the energy field, just think of it as muddy water.
Okay.
It's got a lot of, contributors to that color.
Mm-hmm.
And usually when I see brown, it means that the field isn't in alignment. It's erratic. If I know that's an extreme word,
Mm-hmm.
but how we feel that is, we feel that as confusion,
Okay.
doubt.
Mm-hmm.
We want to know answers. Something's
Hmm.
not right,
Hmm.
but we're not sure what.
Okay.
When I see black in the field, that means that there's cells in an area of the body that have basically died.
Wow.
There's no
Okay.
light.
Okay.
So that
Interesting.
usually is an indicator that there's something going on in the body that could potentially lead to a life-threatening illness such as cancer.
Mm-hmm.
But if we feel that black, we feel in the dark. There's metaphor to everything.
Mm-hmm.
We know something is wrong, not something's confusing, but something's wrong
Mm-hmm.
because our body just isn't functioning the way it's designed.
Okay.
And
Wow.
when I find red in the field, if it's like a brown red, that means that the vitality of the human body is being diminished.
Mm.
So I'm going to have fatigue.
Okay.
And people will say, I'm always tired. I
Wow.
don't know what I need to do. So part of wanting to share this is that we say actually what was going on in our energy field, the pain in the neck
Mm-hmm.
or my back's hurting.
Mm-hmm.
And that's telling us where to go and start, looking at what's going on in our life.
Wow.
And we can look at it from the physical or the metaphor.
Right. So
If someone
interesting.
is a pain in the neck, then
And we all
you
say it all the time.
probably will ultimately get a pain in the neck.
Right. And
I must say now that this wholeness, this soul has a great sense of humor, by the way.
as do you. You keep me laughing. So, what does it look like when you see someone fairly balanced? Pretty healthy, pretty upbeat, kind of just dealing with life. Not that they don't have any issues, but they're sort of kind of with themselves in their frequency. What does that aura look like?
The colors are bright.
Mm,
So there's main colors. There's red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and indigo,
hmm.
and then the violet.
Right.
So they're bright, their auras pulsating, and we now have instrumentation that we can actually measure the human aura 55 feet. So when someone is feeling good about themselves, and that doesn't mean there's no problems, but they feel
Hmm.
good about themselves,
Hmm.
they're doing something they love doing,
Hmm.
that field is like this pulsating, all these bright colors. It's like, hello, here I am.
Love
Come
that.
see me. Come talk to me.
Love it. So that now the great segue to I want to talk about your work where it comes to personality, your books,
Mm.
and again, this is something that I'd done with you years ago, and the whole ideology around personalities. And, to liken it to those who are not familiar with your work, it's sort of like a Myers Briggs, but on
Mhm.
steroids in a more fun way.
Right?
But, can you give us the colors and then what personality each color sort of represents in your work?
Thank you. Yes. So I started out when I went to career counseling, the counselor that I worked with used the Myers Briggs,
Hmm.
fabulous instrument,
Hmm.
and I was hooked.
Okay.
But what I realized is that it was difficult for people to remember who they were.
Hmm. That's true. That's very
So
true. Yep.
so then what I did is the colors that in our aura that relates most to our outside world is red, orange, yellow, green.
Hmm.
So I started taking the correlation of neurology, biology, and energy and did an overlay.
Hmm.
So there's four colors. Now, this beautiful 3.5 pound blob in our head is basically designed for decision making.
Right.
Gathers information, process, make decision.
Right.
All right. So of the 4 colors, I'll start with the green.
Mm-hmm.
The green is an emotion decision maker. Notice I didn't say emotional.
Right.
I said emotion.
Mm-hmm.
That means that their decisions have to feel right.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't feel right, then don't make the decision because you'll have to do a redo.
Yep.
The green is spontaneous, fun. They love interrelationships. They love new experiences. They have a beautiful lightheartedness about who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they're able to be very adaptable and flexible. Um, and I really consider them as, kind of the fun people and the
Okay.
people who just seem to find joy or fun in every experience.
Mm. Okay.
And then I'll do the opposite,
Mm-hmm.
the red personality. They tend to be very left hemisphere.
Mm-hmm.
Things need to make sense. They need to be logical.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they feel right or not doesn't have anything to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like information in, information out.
Right.
They like tradition. They like predictability. They don't like being out of control. So they tend to control.
Mm-hmm.
They're not control freaks. They just need to neurologically do that.
Right.
Um, they tend to be resist change
Mm.
until it becomes their idea, but
Yeah.
they're tried and true.
Mm-hmm.
They're predictable. They're accountable. They're time oriented. They're the people that just get things done.
Mm-hmm.
The orange personality, as with the green, makes decisions based on them feeling good.
Mm-hmm.
But the difference with the green is it just needs to feel good to them.
Right.
For the orange, it needs to feel good for everybody
Okay.
around them.
Mm-hmm.
And so, therefore, they may struggle with their decisions. So, what do? They'll ask you, well, what do you think? How does this feel?
Mm-hmm.
And they're very collaborative. They're very emotionally sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
I refer to them as kind of that loving mother hen that just wants to take care of everybody
Mm-hmm.
and so forth. And they're just, they're real easy people to collaborate with and to share with and to do traditional things.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the yellow. The yellow is zigzags throughout all of their mind before they make a decision. They tend to be nonconformist.
Mm-hmm.
They think out of the box. They like to take things apart and then make everything better. They're deep thinkers.
Mm-hmm.
They forget to be in their body.
Mm.
They're more in their head.
Mm-hmm.
And I always laugh with yellows. It's like, so how did you get that bruise on your arm? And the yellow looks at like you, like, what bruise? Oh, I don't have any idea. So
So,
the yellows, everyone is a problem solver. The red is very straightforward problem solver.
uh-huh.
The orange wants to be sure everybody's going to benefit from the solution.
Mm-hmm.
Yellows are always out there looking for the most novel, new way to do things and solutions. And the green is like, okay, good. That decision feels right. Let's just do it.
So, would you have a, thank you for that. That's so cool. So, would you have a, like, could you give us sort of a little sprinkling of the different, just very high level jobs that you may find in each color?
Oh, absolutely. So reds make great managers,
Okay.
especially when the managing is of tasks.
Mm-hmm.
And and they're more, I would call them product oriented.
Okay.
The orange is a great manager in service organizations, nonprofits, where the human element, that advocacy part of them, that well-being for everyone works well. They work well in HR.
Okay.
Um, the yellow works well in IT,
Mm.
things that are more complex. I mean, for a yellow, the more complex, the more exciting. Um, and so they work well as entrepreneurs.
Mm.
There, there are a lot of leaders in AI
Mm-hmm.
or in
Okay.
corporations that are both service and product oriented.
Okay.
And then the green is more HR, people management, innovative new products. They're great creators.
Mm. That's great. Thank you.
Teachers are oranges and greens. Doctors tend to be orange and reds.
Mm-hmm.
Um, again, visionaries are also yellows and greens.
Okay. So, would you say that you could, a person could have like a little bit of both or 50-50 of both, but one is just the dominant leader and but they still have like a green could be, I'd love to please everyone, but I also, am a taskmaster and I like to get it done. So they can have a little bit of red.
Absolutely.
Okay.
May I use you for a perfect example?
You absolutely can.
Okay. So in the four colors, it's straight neurology.
Hmm.
What this means is, again, how you gather information,
Hmm.
process, make decisions.
Right.
That's hardwired.
Hmm.
From the day you're born till the day you pass,
Hmm.
that will stay hardwired. So that means no matter how ease or stress, that's your neurology.
Okay.
But in order to cope and fit, we create this coping color, which in your case is a yellow. So
Okay.
you have the best of both worlds, honey. You've got the creator part of you, and then you've got the system part of you, the procedure part of you, the taskmaster part of you that allows you to create and actually produce.
Absolutely spot on. Yes.
If you were green, as you are,
Hmm.
and you go into your red, you're usually just frustrated and your head's down and you're butting heads against yourself and other people,
Yep.
and it creates a tremendous amount of stress.
Hmm.
And your neurology goes, whoa, you need to go find something that's fun, something
Hmm.
that's easy, something that flows with you.
Hmm.
So for the green, they can go into red coping for a short period of time, but not very long because they don't like to be frustrated.
Absolutely. 100%. 100%. So, where can people find your work? Is there a place where they can take, because the test is a series of questions I just wanted to share with the audience. Is there a place where they can go to take this test?
Yes, we actually have it online. So
Perfect.
they can go to whatcolorisyourpersonality.com and you can click on it. It's $1.95, I believe,
Okay.
and it will walk you through an assessment. It will give you the results. It'll allow you to read about yourself, or you can go to Ritberger.com. In the toolbox at the top, click on what color is your personality, or we actually have a slide. You just click on that, it'll take you in there. Many of my books are out of print, so probably the best way is to start
Okay.
online.
Okay. That's awesome. And it's such a fun thing to do, to find
Yeah.
out. And, this channel, this show is all about empowerment and what one can do to learn more about themselves to become more empowered, to be able to build, create, and just have the life that we were all meant to have. So I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for asking.
Oh, I love your work. I really, really do. It's been so fun. I the other thing I wanted to ask you is if it's okay, do you want to share with us what are your colors?
I am actually a yellow green.
Okay, I can see that. I can
Yeah,
so see
my
that.
yellow gets really focused and in my head,
Uh-huh.
and I have a beautiful green daughter that reminds
Oh,
me that I don't need to focus all the time and let's go do something. So,
yes.
so I've learned my green is my coping, so I'm not as singularly focused.
Oh, I was, and my next question is going to ask, what do you do to keep your frequency anchored, clear, and renewed? And part of it you shared was your daughter for sure.
Mhm.
Is there anything else that you do in order to, when it's time and you say, okay, what all entails in that green part of you?
Absolutely. When I get too much in that yellow research and again, just focused so much, then it's like my green comes in and pushes a creative button.
Okay.
And then it's like, I need to go garden, or I need to play with my beads, or I need to sew, or I need to just go out and sit and enjoy nature.
Hmm.
Just to, that green is a beautiful distraction.
And you are in the most beautiful, green, luscious place on one of the most beautiful places on earth, I think, and that is beautiful Hawaii.
Yes, I am blessed.
Yes, wonderful.
If somebody had told me I would end up here somewhere in my journey in the early 80s, it'd be like, I don't think so. That just goes to show we don't know everything, even if we die.
Absolutely. It's still a journey. It's still a
Right.
journey.
Show up.
Right. That's right. So I like to ask all the guests this question. If you were to describe your frequency in one word or a sentence right now, what would that be?
Adaptive.
Ah, adaptive. That's so cool.
That's what allows us to experience and to not necessarily become reactive immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So the process that I've realized consistently over, my life as I got to really know me is adaptive,
Mm-hmm.
knowing, which is my intuition,
Mm-hmm.
and transcendent, meaning
Mm.
rise above, move beyond.
Oh wow. I love that. That's powerful. And
Not always, but that's my words.
we're all work
And
in
I have to
progress.
remember. And my green comes in and goes, remember adaptive. Okay.
Well, it's something that we haven't we one of the we're almost down to the end here, and
Mhm.
I this is just such fun for me, and so just just great, just sharing just wonderful concepts. But one of the things that I also like to ask as a last question, I'm sort of going to try to fold this into some other things, which is, I always like the guests to leave us with one thing that you would want the listeners to walk away with and apply immediately to their lives. You are someone who has seen who can see the energy fields, and you've seen it from both sides of the veil. And so, like the single most important thing that you would want the listener to understand about their own frequency today that they can take away and then start to empower themselves. So that's the question. And I know my question is long winded. But before we get to that question, the one thing that I've always admired about you and what you've always shared with me is you not only have the ability to tap into each individual and different things that you look at as an individual. But over the years, you've always shared with me just the collective shifts, and you've always been able to say, "Oh, there was a shift, or there's some things happening," just from a collective energy transformational perspective. So before you answer that question about what people can do individually walk away from, can you just share a little bit about what you see, or your interpretation of what's happening in the world today as a collective from a frequency energetic perspective?
Yes, there's just so much tension,
Yeah.
um, which a lot of the great introspection that takes place in that tension.
Mm-hmm.
This energy and where we are in the world is asking us to go within.
Yes.
And does the outside consciousness match ours? What does, what doesn't? And again, connecting with ourselves. June 4th, we had an energy shift. And that energy shift created a space for us to remember that in tension and chaos, the most powerful thing we can do is to live our life in those normal routines
Mm-hmm.
and with integrity.
Yes.
And this June 12th energy shift is said to us that consciousness of this wholeness said, we're going to hold the space for you to do this. You can come in and rest and enjoy, and you can go out.
Mm-hmm.
And you can stay out as long as you want, but that space is still there for you to connect with you, your true north, and your spiritual integrity.
Mm-hmm.
The ultimate objective, I believe, of this year is for us to realize that we're all the same.
Mm.
We're different in our cultures, we're different in our beliefs, we're different in perspectives, we're different personalities, but we're all part of this grand plan of evolution.
Mm-hmm.
And the divisiveness that is happening and the hatred and the rigidity and everything
Mm-hmm.
isn't moving us forward.
Yes, I agree. I agree. I totally agree. And as we move through July and August, and through the summer, um, what would you like to share with us that we should look forward to from an energetic perspective, and then from an individual perspective that we can start today and move through like the rest of this, let's just say, this summer season?
Right. So the rest of this year is going to ask us to be an observer.
Mm-hmm.
And if we feel passionately about something, to express that and share it,
Okay.
but to do it in a way where it doesn't create division.
Okay. Makes sense.
Um, as far as the tension in the field, it's going to always be there. We humans are not going to agree.
Mm-hmm.
And if we recognize that in those disagreements in one person's life, it's their truth, and your truth may be different,
Mm-hmm.
but it's still the truth.
Right.
So my sense is this year will still have a lot of tension, a lot of head scratching, a lot of hurt in our heart. Um, but I do know in the essence of who we are, we don't have to all be alike, but we're all wanting the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
and that's love. And that's it.
Agreed. Said so beautifully. Thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
just giving us your attention and giving us such wonderful stories and gems and just beautiful ways to see ourselves differently. So, Carol, thank you so much. Is there anything you have coming up or anything you'd like to share with the audience? Are you speaking anywhere? If you'd like to give them your website again, another place where they can go and maybe take the colors test or even have a reading with you. Carol does readings, wonderful readings, medical intuitive readings. Is there anything you'd like to share with the audience before we close?
Yes, the best place to kind of keep up to date on what I'm doing is ritberger.com,
Okay.
ritberger.com. And that'll actually give you a link into the personality assessment, what colors your personality.com. I'm in the process of working on a book on kindness.
Mm,
So I'm still doing readings, but I'm not doing any teaching and classes
okay.
at this time.
Okay. Wow. Well, please check out Carol. She is phenomenal. And Carol, thank you again. I cannot thank you enough. This has been
My
actually great.
Thank you. What I would like to do, if I may,
Sure.
answering that other question, the only obstacle between you and what you desire and good health is the quality of your thoughts.
Yes.
Scarcity attracts scarcity, abundance attracts abundance.
Yes.
Your
100%.
frequency will call in whatever you think.
Absolutely 100%. Well, that's
Thank you,
it.
Melissa. My pleasure.
Oh,
Gosh, I love you very much and
oh,
all the
thank
work that
you.
you do.
Oh, thank you so much. And I love you and the work you do. And hopefully, really, really soon, we've been talking offline and maybe we can get together and do something together. We'll surprise the audience.
Would love that.
Thank you so much. And with that, I thank you for your attention because where attention goes, energy flows. My intention is simple that you receive exactly what you need to create your highest currency. Remember this frequency is your new currency. Your internal state is your greatest power. Wholeness is not lost, it's simply waiting to be remembered. I'm Melissa Watts. This is Frequency, the New Currency. Frequency set, currency in motion, transmission complete. Now go change your world.